Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people, shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man. One pride.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, 8 a.m., July 22nd, and we are into day 3 of the Detroit Lions training camp. Today, we're going to be discussing your latest recap, what's happening throughout the landscape of the NFL, also your Detroit Lions, latest updates. Last night, man, I dropped a bomb, and I don't know if anyone's picked it up yet, but there was an article that popped off shortly after we got done with the Off the Cuff podcast. I came across it, and it was talking about Aidan Hutchinson apparently in contract talks right now with the Detroit Lions. Now, of course, I would say that this is speculation, but Ian Rappaport is the one that reported it, as well as, from what I could gather, Micah Parsons. So that was very interesting. You guys know how I feel about the situation. Number one, I said from the very, very, very beginning, I did not expect a contract extension in the spring. I said, if anything, it would happen before week 1. But if the Lions are smart, it'll be after week 1. And we'll get into my reasons why. So that's a big topic of discussion today. And we'll see how that gets picked up around the airwaves today. If anyone else picks it up and talks about it, I'm curious to what other information they may have. I have not been able to reach out to anybody yet. I'm calling BS. Sorry, Dan. I'm calling BS this morning on Alex Anzalone. And we'll get into why here in just a few moments as well. But something doesn't sit right with me about this situation. We can use this as our tinfoil cap segment of the day, if you will. But something doesn't sit right here. And honestly, it's what Dan said, right? That's why it's not sitting right with me. JJ McCarthy. He was going to go to another or a different NFC North team. I didn't hear about this, but I did today, or I did yesterday. So we'll talk about that today. Some local beat writers, man, maybe getting it wrong, or some local writers getting it wrong, I should say. It wasn't so much the beat writers, but talking about, let me open this up because I didn't set myself up. Jameson Williams. Yesterday, I had said that there was some trade rumors that were popping up about JMO. So we'll discuss that and how this article, which I think this is a sideline report, Candace Pedraza, I think that's how you pronounce that last name, or Pedraza, discusses the whole JMO Williams thing and the contract that could potentially be coming, why Williams needs a huge 4th year, and what the Lions might have to do to either keep him or what they're talking about is potentially moving on from JMO. But like I said, I think that they're getting it wrong, and it's just about the way that they framed this article and some of the things that they had mentioned in here that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. As you can see, it's solo mission today. Riley's off. Not sure where he is. And then Eric he just got back last night from his trip. He's got a ton of work to do with his business at home, so he's got to get caught up. I think he'll be back tomorrow. I think Eric will be back tomorrow. I'll update the schedule at some point this week, but I know I got some dates next week that I'm going to be gone. Obviously, with training camp, I'll be gone a couple of days anyway. So today, I'd like to go through some of the Lions media availability too, and let's get that done. We haven't had a chance to really do that. But let's just get it kicked off, and we're going to do that when I get back here in just about 15 seconds.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Hey, can y'all hear me out there? Against all odds. 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 Against all odds.
The podcast.
All right, Pro Sports Zone, they are the official sponsor of the Countdown Clock for 2025. If you guys have not been into Pro Sports Zone, please check them out. They are the best local curator of all of your sports products, apparel, accessories, hats. If you want a giant UFC belt, whatever it is, John Yu has it at Pro Sports Zone in Livonia, man. Only the lowest prices, only the best service, only at Pro Sports Zone. 37700 6 Mile Road in Livonia, Michigan. Look them up today, 10 to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And I think it's 11 to 6 or 11 to 7 on Sundays. But we got 9 days, 11 hours, 54 minutes, and 11 seconds until I'll be sitting front row watching the Lions take on the Chargers in the Hall of Fame game. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Of course, I'm your host each and every day, Will Rock. It is a solo mission today. Eric and Riley are off, but let's get into our first subject matter of the day. Oh, I can't forget. Krista, I think it's Krista Hayes last night won the first new subscriber giveaway, which is a training camp jacket. So I'm just waiting for her information. I haven't seen it come across the email yet, but if you're in this morning, it's mailbag@rockdown.com. And the way that she won is because she has notifications turned on, and she also communicated in the chat when she was in one of the shows, and that is how the bot recognized her, and she won. So we're going to be doing that every 100 subscribers we get. We'll be doing a new subscriber giveaway. And then, of course, for all of you OGs, we have some special things planned for you, too. I did forget to give away training camp tickets last night, so I will probably do that tonight in the Tuesday night off the cuff. I know last night's not the normal night, but I promised to get something done over the weekend. It just didn't happen. So we'll do it tonight. We'll make sure it happens. Maybe we'll give a couple of pairs or a couple of sets away tonight. Make sure it happens. People can get in camp, man. So I'm going to start with I Call BS. If you remember, Dan Campbell came to the mic. Was it Sunday at 8 a.m. He was asked about, Alex, but more so he gave a statement that said that all of the guys came in and crushed the conditioning test, right? So if they all crush the conditioning test, I assume that means that they ran well, right? They lifted well. They did everything. They stretched well, whatever it is that they're going through. Maybe their MRIs, their X-rays, whatever it is that they're doing, at the outset of training camp to make sure that these guys are ready to go. They're injury-free. He said that Alex Anzalone did a great job. How do you go from that to the next day he has a hammy? And the reason why I'm saying that is because Alex didn't practice. How did you pull a hammy if you didn't practice? It's not like he came up lame while he was doing his conditioning test. So I call BS, Dan. I'm sorry, but I'm calling BS because the day before you said he's fine, and then all of a sudden the next day he's got a hamstring. Math's not mathing here. But 1 + 1 is equaling 3 in this situation. It's not making any sense. It makes perfect sense. Look, guys, Alex is holding in. It is what it is. The Lions don't want to call it a hold in. Alex is holding in. He hasn't practiced. Right? He's had 2 full practices he's missed. We get it. He doesn't do the voluntary OTA stuff. He doesn't do the rookie mini camp stuff. He doesn't do the vet camp. He doesn't do any of that. We get it. He hasn't done it every year. So that's no drama. That's no issue to me at all. But now it's training camp. You're supposed to be here. And people want to say that there's no issue with his contract or this, that, the other thing. Dan saying that there's no hold-in potential. I'm sorry. I'm calling BS. Tell me I'm wrong. Is anyone else kind of getting that feeling now? I didn't hear anybody bring this up at all. Not one beat writer, not one content creator, nobody brought this up, that the math wasn't mathing from Dan Campbell on Sunday to Dan Campbell on Monday. Then that is not normally like Dan. He's probably one of the most transparent, open coaches I've ever witnessed in the NFL. And he's in a situation for the first time. I mean, there could have been other situations that have happened over the last, 4 seasons, prior to this one. But this is a situation where he's faced with one of his captains, one of the leaders on this team that wants a new deal, and it's led into training camp. This stuff usually doesn't happen for the Lions, at least under this regime. So I just feel like something's not right. Something's not right. I believe that he's kind of holding in a little bit. Let me get into the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying on this. I can't see that far to the right today. I was in front of the screen so much yesterday, man. My eyes are just on fire. I think I've gone through a whole bottle of Visine. Okay, so let's see this here. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Do you believe that Alex Anzalone's holding in? Let's just do a poll. Yes or no? Let's just do a simple poll. Do you believe... You know what? Forget all the writing. Is Alex Anzalone holding in? It's a very simple question. And it's a very simple poll. So in the comments here, we have Nick P says, I believe Alex Anzalone tweaked his hamstring. He would have been a no-show, in my opinion, if he was holding out. Okay, but Nick, he showed up and did his conditioning test, which includes running. So I don't think that works in this situation. Bo Booth says, I didn't catch who MCDC was referring to, but he said something about the guy being able to play everywhere on the D-line. I'm not sure what you're talking about there either, but he said that there was no issues with Dan Campbell. Or I'm sorry, with Alex Anzalone. You know what? Let's just go find the video. It was like right in the beginning. It was right in the beginning. Is there a press conference this morning? Are we already missing it? I didn't see an alert. Someone alert me if there is. Yep, it started 4 minutes ago. All right, we're going to transition here. It looks like it's already over, so it must have started early. Nope, it started right at 8. It's just a short one. That's why everyone's getting in late today. I see how it is. Dan's way more important than me. I know. I get it. I just missed it. I didn't see the notification. YouTube sucks with that stuff. Half the notifications don't even come out. But when you put out 9 pieces of content on one day, that kind of tends to happen, though. They miss a few things. It's actually intentional that they don't release it. Looks like they must have changed their camera view today because my setup for these press conferences is not working. Try to get ahead and it doesn't work. All right, let's bring it in. Let's see what Dan said. Let's see if there's any updates here. So we'll come back to Alex in just a moment. Oh, wait. Why don't I have audio now? What in the world? That's why.
Baki will be out today.
All right, here we go.
Guys are off tomorrow, so it'll be, our third good day of work and get them moving around, really. Baki will be out today. I think Lopez is going to be down today as well, so I think those two guys will probably be a few days here. Don't think they're,
that's good news.
Major, but we'll
that's great news.
Let them see where they shake out. So, questions? Say it again.
What happened?
Oh, he got stepped on. Yeah, got stepped on and kind of stepped and got twisted. Got stepped on with the cleat, and then the cleat twisted on top of his foot. So,
Last year, Manu was so raw, coming from
Hold on.
college. Last year,
he twisted, kind of stepped and got twisted. Say it again.
What happened?
Oh, he got stepped on. Yeah, got stepped on and kind of stepped and got twisted. Got stepped on with the cleat, and then the cleat twisted on top of his foot.
Is he talking about Lopez or is he talking about Vaki?
Last year, Manu was so raw, coming from college in Canada. I'm just curious, where have you seen him make the biggest gains having a year under his belt now?
Well, he's just in his training, I mean, he's gotten a year now with us, with Mike Clark and Josh Schuler and those guys. And so really training his body, has been big for him. He's begun to transform himself. And I would say that's the biggest, that's the biggest improvement. And then certainly there's things that he's getting more aware of, that he's learning. And, man, he'll take 2 steps up and then 1 step back, And so that's kind of where he's at. He'll have a good day, and then, there's a couple of things that'll slide that we got to keep working on with him. And he knows as long as he keeps pushing, he'll be fine. But, that's what he's got to do is learn from it, listen to what Hank's telling him and Steven and those veterans, and work on it, improve, and just get better every day.
What's he dealing with, and what did you like about his development?
I'm sorry.
With Sione. What's he dealing with, and what did you like about his development throughout the offseason?
Yeah, hamstring. Vaki's a guy that was unfortunate. We didn't have him for the spring. We were really high on him from an offensive standpoint. Certainly special teams. I mean, he really helped us in special teams, and we feel like he could do that again. But offensively,
what I was saying yesterday,
just to see, what we could do with him, see if we could expand his role. We feel like just athletically, size-wise, explosiveness, power, there's versatility in what he can do. He might be able to play multiple roles, multiple positions. So this kind of sets us back, but he'll be in there rehabbing with Fish, getting it right, getting the strength back in it, and then we'll start over again.
We asked you in the spring, I'm sure we'll ask you when Pat go on, just to see Aidan Hutchinson back on the field.
Mm-hmm.
What type of emotional lift, what type of football lift is seeing 97 back on the field give you and this team?
Yeah, well, it's good to see. Anytime you see, one of your guys that what he brings to your team, what he brings on the field, the production, the energy, the violence, it does give you a little boost, a little lift. For me, it's just good to see his confidence back in himself. That feels good to see. You can tell he has a lot of faith in where he's at right now, how it feels, the way he moves, the way he bends, the way he's coming off the edge, and that's only after 2 days. So it's pretty exciting. So it's good to have him back.
One guy we haven't heard much about is Miles Frazier. What's he dealing with, and is there a timetable for his return?
Knee, yeah. Probably, I don't know. Let's call it September, October. Let's say something like that. Is that good?
Is that good? Dan Campbell, no, that's not good. But I'm curious as to why he said it that way. I had to pause here for just a moment. Miles Frazier. Now, in the offseason, when we acquired Frazier during, after the draft, we had a lot of conversation about him. We heard a lot of good things about him. We were expecting, Frazier to be able to compete, in camp. That's not going to happen. So Frazier's going to end up having to fall in line with the same trajectory that Mahogany did last year. And Mahogany seemed to work out just fine. So I'm not terribly worried about Frazier at this point. I am worried that he's got a knee in it and we don't know how it happened or when it happened. At least I don't. I haven't secured that information for myself, and I haven't heard it anywhere. So wherever it happened, and he's going to be out. He said, what, is that September? October? Is that good? I guess I'm a little irritated by that response. I'm sorry. I just am. Partly because I'm irritated about the Alex Anzalone thing. But for everyone that was thinking Miles Frazier was going to come in and win a spot right away, I think that now we understand what our offensive line is. And that's exactly what my preseason 53-man update will be today or tonight when we get into tonight's show. It is Penei Sewell from right to left, Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge, Mahogany, and Taylor Decker, assuming Taylor Decker gets back, gets healthy, and he's good to go. Otherwise, it could be Skipper and Manu battling it out on the left side. So that's my preseason 53-man update for the offensive line. I think that we're locked in and loaded with those guys. Let's finish this out. We got about 4 minutes left.
All right.
We saw some other guys working with trainers yesterday, working their way back. Dorsey, Wingo, and Malcolm. I'm just curious, are any of those guys close to working their way back on the field?
I would say Dorsey's probably the closest of that group. We're hoping, late camp we get Dorsey back. He's doing well. He's running. His speed the speed is there. And now it's just about the transit. The being able to put your foot in the ground, make a transition, all of that. But he is progressing. He's getting better and better. So, Rodrigo, we've already talked about, just doing good, doing really good. But I think he's another October guy. So, yeah, Wingo's probably September.
Ratledge, how do you go about bringing him along in a position he didn't play in college, and especially given that the center is such a kind of all-encompassing position, and a lot of mental aspects with identifying protection. Do you focus on technique? Or are you also kind of teaching it holistically? How are you doing it, step by step? Yeah, it is. It's you're getting it all at once. It's everything. It is. It's the mental and it's the technique of it. So yeah, we're putting a lot on him. He's drinking out of a fire hose right now, and but there's things that we saw with him in college, at Georgia, that we felt like, we think this guy can play center. We knew it was going to take. It's going to take some time, when that's something you haven't done in games. It's going to take a minute, but he has practiced it, and he's gotten a lot of reps at Georgia playing center. Against some really good, competition out there in spring and stuff. So,
okay, so I got to pause it there for a moment. Ratledge has never played center at Georgia, ever. He's not one snap recorded. So Dan just said that he had a lot of snaps. So I'm not disagreeing with him. I think what he's referring to here is practice, right? So behind the scenes, but not in game. Based on what we know from PFF and these snaps recorded per position in the detailed outlook, Ratledge has never had a snap at center in game. And Dan even said that just a moment ago. He's never had a snap in game. So that's at practice. And I just wanted to clarify that. Just so we're all on the same page here, that Ratledge in game is still a new experience for him, and he's going to get his first experience here in just about 10 days. So, look, I'm excited for it. I absolutely am excited for it. I really just want Frank to roll over and bump his head one morning and say, you know what? I need to go to camp. That's what I'm really hoping for. It's probably not going to happen, but he needs to get all the fishing out of his system and just do his thing for the summer. And we need to see Frank by week 1. That's all I'm saying, man. Just get your ass back in the team for just one more year. Just one more year. You're so close. Just one more year. It's not going to happen. Wishful thinking.
Anyway, so we're excited. Like I say, we'll see where it goes, man. All he's got to do is keep working. It's only 2 days. I like where it's been versus the spring. It already feels better. It already feels more natural.
Are you going past on Thursday?
Oh, what is today? Tuesday? Friday. We can't Thursday.
Dan, with Levi and Aleem down, it seems like maybe the obvious deficiencies, just some of the ability to get an edge, the pass rush from the interior there. Who are some guys you maybe got an eye on that can step up and maybe help you fill that void?
Yeah, I mean, I think really all of those guys are, it's an open, there again, it's kind of an open competition to see who can give us the most in there. We talked about Ty Leak. We know Reader. I've already talked about Reader. He can edge and push the pocket. Look, we kind of like Cooper now. He's a young guy, right? Let's see what he can do. We got Raekwon, a veteran guy. We've got some guys here, and I know we're Pascal and Aleem and all that. It's going to be a minute, but we feel pretty good about those guys, obviously. So we'll be all right. We'll find it, and if we need to fabricate it, we'll fabricate it.
More guys, and he's playing a little bit of edge, kind of helping you out there too. What value does he have as a back? He can sort of do a little bit of everything.
Oh, okay, quick pause here too. I genuinely dislike this word, fabricate, right? Or manipulate. So last season, the Lions had to manufacture or fabricate the defensive line after we lost a ton of players, right? They had to fabricate pressure. But you know what? We still remain the third best team in the league with pressure. The issue that I have with it is that it's going to take guys out of their position. It's going to take them out of their details, their assignment. I mean, they're still supposed to stick to their assignment, but it just doesn't always happen that way. Once the momentum's going in one direction, it's pretty hard to stop and turn around and have that oh crap moment. I was supposed to be over here, and that's what AG. That's what AG did in the last game of the year, in the playoffs, is put guys in a bad position. Still tried to create pressure, wasn't working. He should have backed the hell off. And again, it's not like we would have won the next week. I still believe that the Eagles would have been way too much of a game for us to handle with all the injuries. But I just don't want to see us manufacture a whole lot. And I think that we have enough on this team to still do it. Now, I have been looking at some potential defensive tackles that we could bring in. We'll talk about that potentially today if we get time, or tonight.
That is the value. I mean, he's a jack of all trades, man. He as he's running by me yesterday, he wanted to make sure I knew he could play blocking tight end. So I'm telling you, kickoff return, watch him. I mean, he's value. I mean, he is. We'll be all right. We'll find it, and if we need to fabricate it, we'll fabricate it.
More guys, and he's playing a little bit of edge, kind of helping you out there too. What value does he have as a back? He can sort of do a little bit of everything.
That is the value. I mean, he's a jack of all trades, man. He as he's running by me yesterday, he wanted to make sure I knew he could play blocking tight end. So I'm telling you, kickoff return, watch him. I mean, he's a pretty smooth athlete for a big man. Play the nose, play the three, play the big end. He's versatile, and that's why he just keeps competing to stay on rosters, man, because it's hard. It's hard to ignore a guy like him.
He does so many different jobs, you know. If you get him.
Does anybody have a clue who they're talking about?
I mean, there's no question, you know. So, but he's another guy.
What was your initial reaction when you found out you guys were going to be playing a Hall of Fame game? Obviously, that pushed everything up. But what was your personal reaction when you found that out?
That it's, you know, they want us there, and we'll be there. We're going to get good work.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
All right.
So I didn't catch the second to last individual that they were talking about there. Let me get out of this scene real quick. I did not. I did not hear. I mean, they were talking about the defense. I thought they were talking about the defense when they were talking about the big end or the blocking tight end. Were they talking about a blocking tight end? Were they talking about Yeboah? Were they talking about Brock Wright? Were they talking about Shane Zielstra? Who were they talking about? I totally couldn't hear it. Usually I can hear it, but now I'm wondering who it was. Eric Rintamacki's got a little update for us. Says Trey Hendrickson did not report to camp today. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because just the other day, the Cincinnati Bengals put out a statement that said that they want to keep Trey Hendrickson around and they want to get a deal done. Well, I think it's pretty simple. You just got to pay the man what he's asking for. Yeah, it does sound like mumble cruising. I mean, I'm glad that they're trying to get these guys mic'd up, but it's like, huh? Like, slow down. Ask the question so everybody can hear it. Especially Dan. But anyway, I mean, a whole bunch of nothing today, really. Not a whole bunch of updates. And I was hoping to hear something about Alex Anzalone, which we didn't hear. So that's where I kind of left off. And that's where I'm gonna jump off right now to something different. But I kind of took this whole situation this week at face value when you know, I was trusting Dan in this whole process that there is no issue with Alex. But I'm going to say it one more time. The dude was said to have crushed his physical, came in good weight, and along with everybody else. And the next day he has a hammy. My BS meter just went sky high last night when I had the aha moment. So Trace got a reminder for you guys. Still need 34 likes to hit the goal of 75 likes. As long as we get to 75%. So we're at 830 right now. I mean, 75 is at least the goal. That's all. That's if there's 100 people watching, which usually we have at least 100 every day. Right now it is 86 to, well, I can't see. 86 to something. I can't see the likes for some reason. 87 to 42. So yeah, we need to get it up to like 65. And we'll turn the ads off. We tried to do it by 8:30, otherwise you guys get stuck with ads. Anyway, next up, let's go around the horn real quick with some NFL news. Not a whole lot. I mean, there's a ton out there, but not a whole lot I really want to discuss. But there was this one guy called or named JJ McCarthy that apparently was going to go to another team. Now, I never heard anything about this last year. But apparently, here, let me just bring this in. Here we go. You can take a look at the screen. JJ McCarthy nearly taken by an NFC North rival in 2024. Per a report, do you guys think it was the Lions? If you haven't seen this article yet, do you think it's the Lions? Were the Lions going to take J.J. McCarthy last year? I mean, we didn't have a pick anywhere near where he was going to get taken. It wasn't the Lions, but it was the Bears. So according to this article here written by Daniel Arwas, says the Minnesota Vikings will be relying on J.J. McCarthy to get the team over the first round playoff hump that has dogged head coach Kevin O'Connell in the last two of his 3 seasons. in charge of the organization. But in another parallel world, according to reports, he could have ended up with one of the Vikings' chief rivals, divisional foes, the Chicago Bears. Talking about J.J. McCarthy could have ended up in Chicago. Now, according to Alec Lewis of The Athletic, the Bears nearly drafted McCarthy with the first overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, where they instead took USC quarterback, as we know, Mr. Caleb Williams. Now, speaking of quarterback coach Greg Holcomb, Lewis reveals that Chicago's general manager, Ryan Poles, who recently signed a new extension. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for signing him. Because I truly believe he is a terrible general manager, but we'll see where that goes. So he's signed to an extension. I got to get these ads out of here. Hold on. Let's get these things off. All right. Now, speaking of the quarterback coach, Greg Holcomb, he talked about how much he liked the now Vikings signal caller. Now, there's been a lot of speculation that J.J. McCarthy is going to bring this team to the promised land and they're going to win a bunch of games this year. I would say if the Vikings win more than 9 games, they're doing something right. I don't see the Vikings making the playoffs. I see the Vikings having an up and down kind of a season, may not win 2 games in a row the entire year. But anyway, Lewis wrote this on Monday. He said, still sipping a hot coffee at Starbucks, Holcomb recalls another moment from the offseason. He was hosting a quarterback's camp for the middle school age boys, and one of the attendees was Chicago Bears GM Ryan Poles. During the changeover at the camp, Holcomb approached Poles and introduced himself, and they found their way to the subject of McCarthy. Now, he was quoted as saying he was talking about how much they, the Bears, love JJ, and said that, to me, I don't think people realize how close we were to possibly taking him. Obviously, they love their number 1 pick in Caleb Williams, but I thought that was interesting. So I guess no matter where JJ was going to end up, it was going to be in the NFC North. I mean, the Packers weren't going to take him. The Lions weren't going to take him. But apparently the Bears and the Vikings were definitely after J.J. McCarthy. Now, according to polls, closer than people think. However, given that at the time, nobody thought for a second that McCarthy might go first overall ahead of Williams and LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. This does not necessarily say much. And I think what he's saying here is I thought that the Bears were going to trade back. And I think that it would have been the smarter move to trade back. I think they had number 9 or number 10 already in the draft. And they honestly could have taken whoever they wanted at number 1, and they still could have ended up with J.J. McCarthy with their second pick. They could have also have traded back and added a whole bunch of picks and taken the better quarterback possibly in Jaden Daniels or just J.J. McCarthy. Now, they wouldn't have had him last year, but they had Sam Darnold anyway. That they could have brought in too, but they didn't. He was a Viking. So Ryan O'Leary of the Sporting News also points out that Poles and company did not even meet with the national champion ahead of the 2024 draft. So that's kind of interesting, right? You're saying that you're going to take the guy, or you were going to take the guy, but you didn't even meet with the guy. All right, so here's a quote by O'Leary. He says that prior to the NFL draft, the Chicago Bears didn't even bother meeting with the star Michigan quarterback prospect in J.J. McCarthy. They were all in on Caleb Williams from the jump and then later handed him the keys to the franchise as the number 1 overall pick. So I'm not going to bore you with the rest of this article. The question is, can you believe it? Do you think that Ryan Poles is full of it? Or here's the biggest question. Would Ben Johnson have gone to the Chicago Bears if J.J. McCarthy was there and not Caleb Williams? That's the bigger question. I have no idea what Ben Johnson thinks of J.J. McCarthy. We have heard him talk very positively about Caleb Williams. All right, we will get into some more video here in a little while. I'll probably save that towards the end of the second hour. I do want to get into the media availability from yesterday or the day before. and roll through it. All right, next I want to get into this NFC North report that we're trying to do each and every day. And this one is about Jameson Williams. So, JMO, there's been a lot of speculation, right? There's been a lot of talk about this kid, whether it's from us on this show, whether it's from the national media, the local media. He's just been everywhere, right? And he's talked about in every vehicle you can think of, whether it's a vehicle, headed to the trade block, whether it's a vehicle headed to an extension, or whether it's a vehicle that says the Lions might, after his fifth year option after his fifth year option runs out. And then there's the last vehicle that he's going to hold out. I heard that he was going to hold out this year, right? From multiple people, but then also there was an article saying that JMO was going to potentially hold out. And JMO Trade News. And this was recent. And this is partly because of the contract situation that's going on with the which you can consider to be the number 2 wide receiver for each team. I'm trying to find that other article. But let me bring this one in first. We'll talk about this one. I'll see if I can find the other one. So essentially what this one is saying here is, there you go, take a look at the screen. Jameson Williams sends an early training camp message with future up in the air. Again, by Candace Pedraza. So Williams is looking to show out amidst the nagging trade rumors. I will say this first and foremost. The trade rumors are manufactured. Right? Just like Dan Campbell said this morning, he's going to have to manufacture some things. That's exactly what's going on here. These trade rumors are manufactured. These are just writers in the offseason that are just drumming up some BS to try to get some clicks. Unfortunately, some of the local guys do it too. Like, I could care less what the national media does, but as a local guy, we should know what's going on with the team, and we should have a pretty good pulse on whether that there's any validity to that. And that's why I'm here. That's why independent media is so important. I'm not going to just fall in line with the same crap that everyone else is spewing. It doesn't mean that I can't fall in line with the rules and regulations with the NFL or the Lions franchise, but I'm not just going to print the same old garbage. So here's what the article says. This is by the Sideline Report. Jameson Williams is one of several Lions players looking to have a spectacular 2025 season in order to lock in a lucrative new deal. Now, Williams, a fourth-year player, is trying to prove to the Lions brass that not only should he be off the table as a trade chip, I didn't know he was on, but he should be considered a core piece of the team's offense alongside Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Look, I never thought he wasn't a big part of this offense. Not for 1 minute. He is a big part. There's a reason why Brad Holmes went all the way up into the first round to get him. So how can someone even think for one moment that JMO's not important to the offense? I mean, just look what he did last year. Look how he freed up a lot of guys. So with training camp fully underway for Detroit, eyes are on Williams to see if he can keep performing to the level he did in 2024. That is to say, at a 1,000+ receiving yard level alongside St. Brown in the Lions wide receiver core. If early clips of Williams in practice are any indication, it's clear that Williams is going to have another spectacular start to the season with the Lions. So just like, just like the Combine is the Pajama Olympics, look, early training camp images, videos is the same thing. It's to say there's no pads, right? It's 7-on-7. You should win. You should absolutely win. Let's play this video. Nice catch. Caught it with his hands. That's what he's supposed to do. So Williams is seen in this clip moving fluidly and managing to use his hands, not his body, to make a nice catch after a route. It's a simple play and not one performed. What does this say? It's a simple play and not one performed while facing any sort of pressure on the rep. And I think that that's important to say too. But it's still extremely encouraging to see that Williams is locked in at the very beginning of camp and head of the team's Hall of Fame game on July 31st. That's a huge reach. Like, it's day 3 today. They're not in pads. Like, this is a whole bunch of nothing. They're just out there running routes, playing catch. It's a whole bunch of nothing right now. So all of this is just hot air to me. It's unlikely that he suits up for any serious reps in the contest, which is the case for likely all of the Lions starters. It's especially going to be the case considering how many injuries keep piling up for Detroit. First to Levi Onwuzurike, then Ennis Rakestraw, and now reportedly Roy Lopez and Sione Vaki. At least the news from Dan Campbell this morning is it sounds like Lopez and Vaki are day-to-day, right? Which is better than week-to-week and better than month-to-month. They're day-to-day. So whether they're back in, camp, I think they have the day off tomorrow, which would be a good training day for them, or rehab day, to get maybe back in practice by Thursday or Friday. So here we go. Williams needs a huge year 4. Williams is among those with the Lions that are playing for a new deal after the 2025 season is wrapped up. That is true and untrue. It's true because any player's playing for a deal. It's untrue because he has the 5th-year option picked up where he's going to make over $15 million in 2026. Aidan Hutchinson, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, and Jahmyr Gibbs are some of the biggest names set to highlight Detroit's free agent fiasco after this year. And they are currently in a pickle in regards to linebacker Alex Anzalone as he seeks a new deal. So Aidan Hutchinson is not a free agent next year. Aidan Hutchinson is under contract for one more season with the 5th-year option. But Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, and Jahmyr Gibbs are some of the big names that the Lions need to pay attention to. Again, I want to clarify that. Aidan Hutchinson is under contract through 2026. He is not a free agent until 2027. And even then, the Lions still have about 3 more years of control if they want to franchise tag him. Multiple years. So the guy's going nowhere, and neither would Jamo at this point. But Jamo's also not a free agent next season. Now, the Lions might have just created their most overlooked training camp battle. With another 1,000 or more receiving yard season, Williams could be looking at a deal in the ballpark of 3 years, $75 million. So $25 million a year. At least that's the prediction that Christian Brewer provided last month. It's right in line with the numbers that, kind of getting handed out right now. Obviously, the numbers that came down with Garrett Wilson the other day kind of threw a monkey wrench into the deal. Now getting up into the 30s or close to for, the number 2 receiver, which I think, Garrett Wilson's more like a number 1 anyway. Here's the thing, man. Here's what I didn't agree with this article, obviously with the free agency stuff, but right here it says, while Detroit is lucky to have another star receiver in St. Brown, which would soften the blow of letting Williams walk in 2027, they should be looking to hang on to him if he continues to generate as much offense as he did in 2024. Teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings, and Cincinnati Bengals work just fine with elite wide receiver duos. The Lions have to make sure to maintain the same stability with their duo in Williams and St. Brown. That's where I'm having the heartburn with this article. And here's why. They just said, just a few paragraphs back, that Williams is among those with the Lions that are playing for a new deal after the 25 season. Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs. Aidan Hutchinson, of course, needs a new deal. Jamo's going to need a new deal at some point. But these guys right here, these 4, must get re-signed next year. These teams down here, the Eagles, the Vikings, and the Bengals, well, the Vikings just signed their guys. The Bengals just signed their guys. The Eagles don't have the same problem we do. None of these teams do. They don't have what could potentially be 4 All-Pros, or combine them all, 6 All-Pros, if the rest of the guys get All-Pros this year, up for contracts next season. None of those teams are up against it. So when you say that these teams work just fine with elite receiver duos, well, they do for now, but they don't have the same headache that the Detroit Lions have and that they're going to run into head on next season. So that's it. That's all I really wanted to call out in this article was a couple of things. The free agency part, and not all teams are the same, and no one is facing, there's no other team in the NFL that is facing the same situation that the Lions are. And it's because no one's drafted as good as Brad Holmes has. I mean, Howie Roseman has, but not to the tune of, within 2 seasons or really the same draft, you bring in so many good football players that in 2025 or 2026, every single one of them could be breaking, the new mold, right? Breaking the new dollar amount for that position. There's not a team out there that has that issue. So if JMO, to Robbie One's, statement in the chat says if he's going to be between 24 and 28 million, yeah, I don't see how the Lions can pull that off. I don't see how they can pull that off with 40 million for Aidan and I mean, let's just run down the list. Let me go back to that. I mean, here's the numbers. Here's the numbers we're looking at. This is just based on some of my research. Aidan, let's just say he gets 40. I think he's around 35. But let's say he gets 40. Brian Branch, he's going to get 20 plus. Sam Laporta, he's going to get 10 plus, probably closer to 13, 14, 15. Especially if he has another bang-up year this year, or banger of a year. Jack Campbell is probably going to get north of 15, in a multi-year deal. Jahmyr Gibbs could potentially get Saquon Barkley money, especially if he has another banger year this year. So just between those 4, not including Aidan and not including JMO, that's 20. We'll call it 33. We'll go 48. And for Jahmyr, we'll call it 20. That's $68 million in new money per year. Now you add in Aidan, that's $108 million. And then if you throw JMO in there, even at $20 million, you're talking $128 million of new money per year with 6 guys. That's almost half the cap right now. How is that even possible? Right? It's really not. Now, you can stagger, which you're going to have to do. This is why I developed a thing called roster roulette. You're going to have to stagger, guys that you bring in through the draft and guys that you're signing to bigger deals. Unfortunately, I think that at least one of these guys will not be on the team after next year. Unless Brad can figure out a way to get these guys to sign for less, I think we're going to end up losing one. And that's all the more reason why this is the year, right? Last year was the year I thought that we would be competing for a Super Bowl. I thought that it was going to take 4 seasons, that Brad would have enough time to develop the team, work the team after the draft and get us to the point of where we can compete. We were competing in 2023, and I'm not saying it was a fluke, but we were still a little bit early. Now we definitely have the players, and that's what you're hearing in the media availability from everyone, is that they're saying that, look, there's no more talk. Like we have to do it now. There's no more close, that's for horseshoes and hand grenades. We have to do it. Time's running out. Now is the time to make it happen. That still doesn't mean that you're bringing in $35 million edge rushers or whatever. And that's where we're going to go to next, which is the update that I gave yesterday. Hey, big shout out to Brandy Coffee. She just sent a gifted membership out. Oh, look at that, Nick P. Nick P got the gifted membership this morning. Appreciate that, Brandy. I did some more updates, and I guess it's going to take 3 to 5 days for it to update on YouTube side. And then all of the new all of the new apparel should start showing up in YouTube, but I'll make sure that, all the new stuff is what's popping up. So big shout out for giving out the membership to Nick P. Since we're talking about these guys, let's just talk about Kirby.
Picked off. Kirby Joseph, number 7 on the season. He leads the National Football League.
Nick P., you were just picked off by Brandy Coffee, and she sent you a membership this morning. Big shout out to you guys. So that's where I want to go next is Aidan Hutchinson. So last night's video, which again, I put out like 9 pieces of content yesterday. So nobody got a notification about it that I've seen. But this was some major news, and I want to walk through it again. I hope it's not someone just making up a bunch of lies. I don't see that it really could be. I think it's fairly safe. Let me try to fix this though. There we go. All right, so last night it was reported that Ian Rappaport, Detroit Lions, Aidan Hutchinson are discussing a long-term deal. Now, this is not news, and at the same time, it's news. It's not news because I think everyone understands this conversation probably has been going on for a year with Aidan's agent, right? So when they say Aidan, they really mean Aidan's agent. But last night it got a little bit more tricky, and it looks like, you see this right here, it was updated as of 10 p.m. Now, when it came out yesterday, it was at 8 p.m. So I'm curious what was changed in the article. So, yes, we're talking Aidan. We talking Aidan, Nick P. We talking Aidan. All right, so let's figure out what was changed in this article. He says, when talking about contract extension for top defensive, top edge guys, Micah Parsons is the popular name at the moment. The Dallas Cowboys appear to be in no rush to get a deal with Parsons done. In the meantime, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport believes a new deal could be in the works for another big-time player. Rappaport was discussing Parsons, but dropped in a little nugget about Aidan Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions. He says Hutchinson is, quote, discussing, right here, a long-term deal with the Lions right now. Again, Ian Rappaport was discussing Parsons and then dropped a little nugget about Aidan Hutchinson, saying that he is currently discussing a long-term deal with the Lions. Now, there is also even a slight hint that the contract is getting done before Parsons receives his from Dallas. I don't necessarily believe it, but we'll finish this. Quote, Aidan Hutchinson, one of Detroit Lions, is the other big name, high-octane pass rusher, currently discussing a potential long-term deal. This is what Ian Rappaport said. He says, if that gets done before Parsons, then Parsons officially on the clock. I don't like the grammar there, but it should say Parsons is officially on the clock. So I don't know what he means by that, on the clock, meaning that Parsons would then get done. Let's finish the article, and then we're going to go through, I guess, my pros and cons and ideas of this whole thing. All right, so Hutchinson was on his way to becoming one of the best pass rushers in football before an injury brought his progress to a screeching halt. Broken tibia and fibula against the Dallas Cowboys meant that the former number 2 overall pick only played in 5 games during the 2024 season. He still got incredible 7.5 sacks, 4.5 which came in week 2 against the Tampa Bay Bucks. You guys know how I feel about that. Just go back and look at the Tampa Bay Bucks depth chart for that game and the other games that we played. He was going up against 3rd string, 4th string tackles and guards in a few of these games. So the games that he wasn't going up against, 3rd and 4th stringers, the stat sheet's way different. And it's exactly what I said in the video last night. So his career total sack number right now is at 28.5. Now, that does not even include what Hutchinson was able to do for the Lions during the 23 playoff run, 2 sacks against the Rams in the wild card round were recorded. Only following up, I'm missing my heart out right now, only followed up by getting to Baker Mayfield in the divisional round. Hutchinson has proven to be a game wrecker no matter the situation. Now, as things stand, TJ Watt is the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. He recently signed an extension with the Steelers ahead of training camp. It's a number that Parsons is expecting to break in the near future. So we're talking 41 plus million for Parsons. Are we now talking 41 plus million for Aidan? I don't think so. So the quote is, when this is all said and done, Micah Parsons likely is, almost certainly is, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, as he should be, according to Rappaport. So let me break this down a little bit. Number one, even with the discussion of Aidan Hutchinson and Aidan getting a deal done right now, Rappaport still believes that Parsons is going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, which means that Hutchinson's deal is going to be less than at least Parsons, but more than likely less than Garrett as well. That's what I'm really gathering from this, but outside of, the errors in the article, this is some pretty damning information right now. I'm sorry, wrong word. Electrifying information right now for Lions fans, thinking that Aidan could potentially have a deal done this year. Again, I'm going to go back to what I said in the offseason. 1, Aidan was not going to get a deal in the offseason. 2, it would never come until after training camp has started. That's exactly what I've been talking about this entire time. And the reason why is I think that you want to see Aidan be who he has been, right? And continue to be the player that you're expecting him to be after the injury, after he's fully, rehabbed and ready to rock and roll. Video that I seen out of camp had me questioning a few things because Aidan didn't seem to go 100% when they were hitting the sleds. He just kind of slid to the right as opposed to popping it, lifting it, and then letting go. Maybe I misunderstood what the drill was, but normally you hit those things, you stand it up, and then you let it go. That didn't happen. He just kind of tapped it, swiped it, and slid to the right with his right leg, kind of off the ground. So I don't know, man. Is Aidan fully healthy? That's a huge question. And it's a question that's going to get answered very soon because we have a game coming up in 10 days and we've got some padded practices coming up. So that's when we're going to see Aidan do some work, hopefully. Here's my question to you guys. I think I forgot about that poll that I put up earlier. Which was Alex Anzalone holding in? 59% of you on 66 votes said yes. We'll end that poll. So let's start another one with Aidan. I'm just going to do a simple yes or a no. Is Aidan getting a deal before week 1? What do you think? Robbie Ones just joined the membership crew, man. Appreciate you joining the faithful. Let's get you a shout out to Jameer Gibbs.
Got the man. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Jameer Gibbs. The Lions roll the dice on 4th down and come up big.
Thank you, Robbie, man. Appreciate you. So, Aidan, is he getting a deal before week 1, man? We already got 14 votes. It's flying. 53% say no, so it's got to be neck and neck. 50% is 50-50 now. I can't vote in these things. I'll be the tiebreaker. I'm going to be the vice president today. Oh, it's flipped. 53-47, yes. So I guess discussing this, like let's extrapolate it out a little bit. Does Aidan deserve to be the highest paid defensive end in the game? And can the Lions afford not to keep him around? My answer to the second half of that question would be I think that Aidan needs to stay in Detroit. I think that he's a big part of the community. He's a big part of the team. Obviously the fans are endeared to him. He's got a huge connection through the University of Michigan which I kind of questioned a couple weeks ago in that video where he didn't even talk to the guys who were getting drafted. Am I heading to training camp today? What day is it today? Today's the 22nd. No, I am not. The first practice for season ticket holders is the 26th. It's the 26th. I have not received a credential, so I'm not just going to show up without a credential. I still can't get a hold of them. So I'll be right here at home handling things throughout camp, at least until we get that settled. Yeah, Raw B1s, man. I won't tell the wife. Ibuprofen says, no, he doesn't deserve the highest pay, but the man needs his bag. See, I would agree with that. I think that he deserves some pay because you got to keep him around. But I am so concerned about Aidan being Aidan. Like, his trajectory has been good. You guys know I've been hard on him. I've been hard on him because he was the number 2 overall. I've been hard on him because I'm a diehard Lions fan that expects the best now. And when Dan and Brad have, taken this ship and turned it around and set sail to Success Island, I'm expecting that the guys that they bring in are going to produce. And Aidan is one of those guys. Whenever you have a number 1, number 2, or even in top 5, top 10 pick, you better produce. And the first couple of seasons, I mean, Aidan took his lumps at times, often, and then he made great progress. And that's, what led up to last season is a ton of progress from Aidan. He did some great things. And now we need to see it continue. So I don't think that he's anywhere near the Garrett type money, because I don't believe his trajectory is on the same path, if that makes sense. Daniel Hilborn, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Our volume is extremely loud. Like this show is extremely loud. So it's got to be on you, buddy. I haven't heard anyone say anything this morning. I could turn it up a little bit, but it's already pretty loud. I've compared it to Rich Eisen. I've compared it to Colin Cowherd. I've compared it to all the big ones, volume for volume, and it's right there. So anyway, what I won't sacrifice is audio quality. I can't sacrifice that. Once we get it dialed in, we want to keep it dialed in. Michael Garrity says, I'm not so sure Aidan will demand to be top paid. He truly loves Detroit and is homegrown. And I agree with that too. I don't think that he'll demand it. I think his agent will. I think his agent's going to be the one that demands it. I don't think the Lions are going to give it. And I don't think that they have to give it. So if they're trying to get a deal done right now today, I would say that that's on the Lions side as far as them being able to kind of control the dollars, right? He's not played a game since he was injured. And until that happens, I don't think that we know. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. And that's a very scary thing to go through. I could imagine as a GM that you just don't know what you don't know. But here's the other thing. Newsflash. We don't know what they've put Aidan through. We have no clue what sort of testing they've done behind the scenes. Brad's come to the table and said, look, I'm confident. I've seen enough out of Aidan. He said that like 2 months ago, and it was either league meetings or combine, or no, it couldn't have been combine. It might have been OTA kickoff or something. He said that he saw enough out of Aidan, and they're confident in where he's going to be. I'm not as confident, but let's just say that's true. Let's just say that Aidan's fully healthy. remains fully healthy this year, starts week 1 off with a bang against the Packers, what's the dollar amount? Is it more than $41 million? For a third-year player, right, entering his 4th season. Well, he's only played 2 years and 5 games, but I would say that would be a huge mismanagement of funds. You have the dude locked up for this year. You have him locked up for next year. Why the rush? It's not like Aidan's going to be holding out. He's coming off an injury. So if anything, you kind of got, the bull by the horn, so to speak, where you don't have to do anything with Aidan. And you know what? The number is what it is. Next year, I would even say if you pay Aidan this time next year, I bet you that number is still right around 41, 42 million. So it's not like you're going to lose a bunch of money by waiting a year. I don't see anyone else coming up behind Aidan and resetting the market yet again. I would wait. Personally, I would wait. But this is, it's big news on the front of it, right? On the face of it, because it's kind of give us an idea what the Lions are interested in doing player-wise, personnel-wise for the future and what they think, the future is. So for all the people that love Aidan, right, that want to see him remain a Lion for the long term, he is a core player. Let's just be real. He is a core player for this team. This would say that he's going to be around for the next 4 or 5 years, which is huge. And it's also saying that Brad is willing to invest the money as opposed to doing what I would probably do, which is leak the player out through 5 years, and I would be drafting another high draft pick next season. That's what I would be doing. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Now I understand it. Like Brad has said, these guys don't grow on trees, and if Aidan is in the top 10 of defensive ends in the league, I would say out of the top 10, you might have 3 elite guys. 3. Not 5, not 6, 3. And if there's elite tiers, I would say that, tier 1 is Garrett. Tier 1, is Trey Hendrickson because of what he's been able to do in back-to-back seasons. Especially given the age, where TJ Watt obviously is up there. But that's tier 1, right? Tier 1A, tier 1B, which is just a step down. You've got your Max Crosbys. You've got your Danielle Hunters in there. Who else do you have? Anderson. Aidan. And I try to break them down. I had a sheet, and I doubt I'm going to be able to find it real quick. But I had a sheet that broke them down between 4-2, 4-3 scheme and 3-4 scheme. Because I think there's 2 different tier systems, right, for those guys, or 2 tiered rankings. I think that if you're at a 3-4, you belong in this tier. And if you're at a 4-3, 4-2 base, you belong in this tier because it's totally different positions. Totally different. Yep, you're still supposed to get after the quarterback, but it's a way different dynamic in a 3-4. I'd say the 3-4 outside guys have an easier opportunity to get after the quarterback than a 4-3 DN does because they still have defensive line duties. So Micah Parsons, obviously I would put him in that top tier, but he's a 3-4, right? So there's 4 guys that I'm putting in tier A so far. Nick Bosa doesn't belong up there anymore. Jared Verse, he's making his way up into that top tier. But again, it's only been a year, right? We need to see more out of Jared Verse. So I'd put him in that 1B category. And you guys know from watching that draft with me and the work that I did before the draft, Jared Verse was my number 1 overall guy. He's who I wanted the Lions to go get. Now, I'm questioning the fact of whether he would have been a good fit or as good of a fit in Detroit as what he has been with LA because of the different scheme that they run. Will Anderson, he's in that 1B. Khalil Mack, the dude's aged out, so I can't put him up there. He's still a really good football player, but I couldn't put him up there. And then it starts to drop off, right? Josh Allen, Alex Highsmith, Greg Rousseau, Jonathan Greenard, Brian Burns, Andrew Van Ginkel's an interesting conversation. You could probably put him up in a 1C category if we put up a 1C category. Abdul Carter, we don't know who he is yet. So after that, I think it drops down to, tier 2. And you got, 4, 5, 6 guys in tier 2. Aidan is up there, but he's not Myles Garrett. He's not Myles Garrett elite just yet. Just yet. And it doesn't mean that he can't get there, because I think that he has the makings to be really great in this league for a long time. Okay, what's next? Peter says Aidan is not top 3. I wouldn't think so either. Ibuprofen says got to go. Coral Muppets at work. I'm not sure what that means, but he says F the Packers on the way out. Love that. I know what that means. Detroit Fan Man says I'm interested in following the Jerry Jones plan to sign Aidan, which is to wait. You know what I think the Jerry Jones plan is? I think his old ass forgot. That's what I think. I think he forgot. He forgot that Parsons was even on the roster. I don't know how you let that guy slip through the cracks and you wait this long to get a deal done. You definitely shouldn't have paid Dak $60 million a year. Let me get through a few more comments in here. Peter Van Larhoven says, I love Aidan, but this is a business. It is. It is a business. And that's where he said Aidan is not top 3. You must have said something before. Maybe caught some flack that I didn't see. Okay, here it is. Peter Van Larhoven says, we really don't have to do squat with Aidan since he is under contract for 2 more years. Yeah, 2 more years with 3 more years of control on top of it. I would agree. I would definitely agree. Mike P says, did anyone else notice Channel 6's episode of opening of training camp when Hutch stumbled going left to right? He just doesn't look as good as everyone says he is. I did not see that. Mike P, if you have a link, please drop it in, just text it to me or drop it in the Voxer and tag me so that I could see that. I didn't see that come out. Oh, quick update for people that have been waiting on coffee. So I got the beans, 3 weeks ago. They're ready. So they'll be going out today or tomorrow. Big shout out to Randy P up in Idaho. Michael, I'm gonna text you my personal phone number right now in Voxer. Please don't share it with anybody unless it's a mod. All right, so let's move on, man. Does Aidan deserve a deal before week 1? 54% say no. 46% say yes. 39 votes. I'm going to end it with this. I'm going to say, if we want this team to be elite, and we want this team to have generational success, not just sustained success, but generational success, meaning you want your kids to see this team be good, right? Maybe you want your grandkids, depending on how old you are, to just watch this team be good. At my age, 45 here in 7 days, birthday is July 29. So at my age, obviously, I want to see this team be good for my kids' lifetime. My kids are, 19, 18 years old. So I would love to see them be able to enjoy the Lions for a couple of decades, of being good, as opposed to what I've endured, which is 40 years of futility with a couple of good years mixed in. Tons of great memories, though, which I think that rises to the top, of your football experience, no matter what, the experience and the memories that you have with your family and your friends and your kids. I think that is the most important thing. Win or lose, man, we still have a smile on our face most of the time. All right, let me end this poll here. Looks like it just changed. We got one more no, 41 votes. All right, we're going to end it. Don't forget, if you are new subscriber, make sure you turn notifications on. Giving away training camp jackets every 100 subscribers. And the only way that you're going to trigger the bot to select you is if you come into the chat and you make a comment, wave your hand, do something, put an emoji in. As long as you've entered the chat, the bot will recognize that you're there. And then if you have notifications turned on, I do what's called a pop-up. So I'll do a pop-up giveaway. I'll give away game tickets, training camp tickets, training camp jackets, autographed memorabilia. I mean, the Panay Sewell mini helmets that I gave away last year, those things are probably worth close to $250 now. And we gave away 14 of them. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a ton of money that we're giving away. I won't even tell you how much I pay for this stuff, but we gave away $14,000 worth of crap last year. Good crap. It makes Lions fans happy, right? This channel is about you. It's for you. Like I always say, I'm just running the channel. It's your channel, right? So get all of your friends involved. Join the best community out there. We have great conversations about the Detroit Lions, and we try to bring you some heavily fact-driven information and just make it about having fun, right? Let's just have some fun. Pat Kirwan and Moving the Chains podcast. Love that podcast. Jim Miller. They put together their top 5 defensive end groups. I'm going to try to get that set up for us tonight in the Off the Cuff podcast and discuss that. And then preview shows are going to start to drop here pretty quickly. I'm going to lay out the schedule so that we can get it all in around training camp. Let's move on to the next segment here. And we're going to do that right after a message from Yooperlites. If you guys haven't visited Yooperlites.com yet, and you are a Rockhound, you love to go up north, you look for Petoskey stones. Well, now the latest craze over the last several years are Yooperlites, the glowing rocks, as they're called. Yooperlites.com, you can visit every single day to get all of your needs, right? To go up north and find your Yooperlites. You need these little flashlights. They're UV flashlights that help to point out the colorful specks, on the rocks that make them glow in the middle of the night. So check out Yooperlites today. Support a local small business owned by Eric Rintamaki, the founder of Yooperlites. Yooperlites.com. Please visit them after the show. Great gifts, man. Whether it's Christmas, birthday, anniversaries. Here's what I will tell you. If you need something to do with your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mom, your dad, whatever it is, you need just a cheap date, right, to go do something, have some fun. What is more fun than a $20 flashlight in the middle of the night, walking along a beach, looking for glowing rocks? How fun is that? Or, you're up north looking for Petoskey stones. The way I understood it is these lights also help those glow a little bit too. You'll be able to see it a little bit better. I've always used the flashlight, and I've always tried to do it at dawn or dusk. I was more lucky, it seemed like. But anyway, good stuff. Visit Yooperlites.com today. Okay, Media Day. We got about 40 minutes left. Now, I'm going to save this other one, DJ Reed on CBS, because that one's probably going to get hit. I'll save that one for the last of the day so that I can just scrub it. But Media Day, man, let's listen to these guys. Now, this was day one. This is the wrong link. Okay, so I wanted to bring this one in because of Taylor Decker talking about the shoulder surgery. I was going to do it last night, but we just had a lot going on. All right, let's take a look at the screen. Old Taylor Decker, man, he looks different this year. I can't tell if he looks aged, out of shape, or younger and in shape. I can't tell. The beard's throwing me off. He's got the dad beard going. All right, let's listen to what these guys had to say.
The off-season, how's everything going at this point? Great. I'm really happy with it. I'm glad I did it. It was something I was trying to just rehab, but I came back for the OTA practices after a couple days. It was just something that needed to be addressed. So we took another look at it, and the rehab's been going awesome. So came back here pretty early for the off-season, so I've been back here for, I don't know, about 3-4 weeks already. And it's been going really good. So something I'm happy that I did.
Been blessed to be with the same unit, for a few years now. How is it just to see the new faces out here, and just to see a new group of guys, man, trying to find their way out here on the line?
Yeah, I mean, that's every year. You're always going to have some turnover. Obviously, this year we've had more turnover than in the past. But it's good to see. It's good to see guys out here, young, wanting to compete, trying to earn their way in this league. Because, at one point, every player was there. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see those guys working hard, trying to, achieve what they want to achieve.
Curious what you've seen in Manu over the past year.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was pretty raw coming in, but
yeah.
You love the athletic talent. Just a year under his belt.
Yeah.
How much have you seen him kind of advance?
I think he's starting to gain confidence in himself. He's obviously physically gifted, like incredibly physically gifted. But it's been a step up, obviously, coming from college. Not only if you come from college in the United States to the NFL, but from Canada. So I think a step up in the competition, having to learn the playbook against really good competition, just took a little bit. And now he's starting to gain some confidence in that. And then he was actually out at my gym all offseason in Arizona. So I think that'll be great for him. And I think more than anything, he just needs reps. And he's going to get a lot of reps, especially, I'm out for a little bit right now. That's going to give him more reps to improve and get better. So I think he's just going to continue to improve. And I'm excited to see him get more opportunities in the preseason to be able to be in a game scenario and do it, because that's another step after, practice. So.
His idea or your idea? About what the vibe is. What's the mentality? We've asked you that more than I think most anyone in this.
Okay, so this is good news, right? That we're hearing from Taylor Decker about Giovanni Manu. That was the question. What have you seen about Giovanni Manu after his first year?
Like boring, but you just have to get back.
There we go. Now I got it paused. So good news coming out of Taylor Decker talking about Giovanni Manu and his trajectory, or where is he at in year 2? And I think it's a great statement by Decker that Manu's finally getting the confidence, right? Having the confidence above all else is probably the most important thing that a football player can have. You can have all the physical gifts in the world, which obviously, Taylor Decker recognizes it. We all know that Giovanni Manu is a special specimen of a human. There's not too many 6'8", 355 plus pound men walking this earth still. And he's one of them. And his gifts athletically are there. Not only is he big and strong, but he's also very agile and mobile and can move. So getting that confidence together and getting a lot of opportunity in the preseason now with Taylor Decker out, this is going to accelerate Giovanni Manu's ability to crack this roster earlier. So when you think about a project that you bring in, right? Broderick Martin, Giovanni Manu, these guys are projects that you definitely brought in for a reason. Manu might be a 3-year project simply because Taylor Decker is in the way, right? At some point, Taylor Decker is not going to be in the way. And that's when Giovanni Manu is going to have his opportunity to shine. So I'm super excited to see where this guy heads in year 2. I think that Manu has the ability, but again, like Decker said, it's all about the mental. And again, it's something that I talk about here often, right? Everybody's got it from the shoulder down. But what do you have from the shoulder up? And learning the playbook against really good competition, like he said, that is far and away better than anything that a player can go through early in their career is you're going up against, elite defensive ends like Aidan Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport. And I know a lot of you don't think that Marcus Davenport's an elite end, but we'll talk about him today too. Manu's not that far away, right? He's just around the corner.
To work, especially with our schedule this year. We earned the right to play in all these games against these really good teams. But now we have to show up. Now we have to put the work in, and you don't want to go out there and lay an egg. Because a couple years ago, nobody wanted to watch the Lions. Now everybody wants to watch the Lions. Guys want to come play here. And that's a testament to the work that we put in when not as many people cared. So I think you can't lose sight of that. You got to keep the main thing, and that's going out to work, getting better, competing. And I think, as I've said a million times with different situations, Brad and Dan wouldn't bring guys in here that don't adhere to that mindset. Oh, thank you.
Looked like you worked out with Gio this offseason.
Yeah.
Maybe took him under your wing.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him in year 2, and why is it important for you to mentor him and other young guys?
Because number one, they're the future. I'm not going to be able to play forever. I'm going to, play as long as I can because, I like being here, and especially I love the guys. I think it was really good for him to, be out at the gym in the off season, just kind of give him some sense of direction because, it can be hard. Where do I train? What do I do? When do I start ramping it up? And then out in Arizona, we were around a bunch of guys that play. And then Jamarco Jones, Natane Moody's out there too. So you have, 4 guys on the Lions that are at the same gym who have all played football at a high level. So you can see what it looks like.
That's the name we can't forget is Jamarco Jones, man. He looked really good last year in the preseason games. So I'm expecting a lot more out of Jamarco this year. I wouldn't even be surprised if Jamarco can jump the roster at some point. But we'll pay attention to that camp battle. That park that one. Put that feather in your cap. Jamarco Jones is somebody to watch.
So I think it was good for him. I think he was able to gain confidence, and then just maybe train a little differently than he has in the past.
How does your leadership role change with kind of some of the individual differences along the interior of the offensive line this season and without Frank there, and also not physically being able to be on the field these first few weeks?
Yeah, first and foremost, losing Frank. He's as close to an irreplaceable guy as you can get. Side note, I'm happy for him. Over the last couple years, him kind of going through what he's been going through mentally and physically, it could have happened sooner, and I think he stuck it out for us. So first and foremost, I'm happy for Frank. And when he called me, I was almost I was sad for myself because he's my best friend, and I've only played one full season without him, so it's going to be different. But for him, I'm relieved for you. And then I went and saw him a couple days after, and it was the right decision. It was right for him. So, what was the second part of your question? Sorry.
Being a leader among this unit,
yeah.
Not only the most veteran player on this team, but on that unit that's seeing so many changes in the offseason and in the interior.
I think number one, the standard is the standard. We're expected to be one of the top offensive lines in the league.
Hey now, Taylor Decker's stealing my words. You heard what he just said.
You lose big pieces, but we've put those expectations on ourselves and put ourselves in a position where we're expected to perform a certain way. It doesn't matter if there's maybe a guy's out and there's a backup in, maybe there's a guy who's never started games before and he's in there and he's playing. The expectation is the expectation, and that's just really not going to change. And I think for me personally, especially as I'm getting older, I can't let myself waver from the expectations, especially in practice. Right now I'm not practicing, but when I am back out there, I need to do things the right way, because if I don't do things the right way, then that's setting a bad example for guys who haven't got to play. And I wouldn't be in the position I'm in if I didn't handle things as a professional.
Just a quick timeout. You heard what Taylor Decker said, man. The standard is the standard, boys. We're going to make sure that the standard is upheld no matter what we do. This team pushes forward. All right, let's get back to Taylor Decker here.
So I think just to continuing to set a good example, you know, as boring as that is, you know, kind of lead by example sort of thing. And then just, I think it's going to be important to build the guys up, because there's going to be bad days. Guys are going to have bad games. I'm going to have a bad game. It's just going to happen. But just continue to like build those guys up, because there's a lot of expectations on our room, and there's a lot of expectations on certain individuals that can seem pretty daunting, but they're ready for it. Well, I talked to him a bunch of times this offseason. I probably talked to him like 3 or 4 times on the phone before the decision was coming. That's what I was expecting. And I'm just happy that he was able to like arrive at that decision and be at peace with it. Because like I said, I was a little worried when I went to go see him in person afterwards that he was going to be struggling with it, but he was just relieved. And just as a human being, like I said, outside of his wife and his mom and his family, I feel like I know like what he was dealing with more than anybody. And everybody just seems so happy for him, and I'm happy for him. I mean, the guy had a phenomenal career. I mean, for my money, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he was incredible.
What's your early impressions of John Morton so far? What's he bring to the table? Anything different, or what have you noticed him?
I missed the first part. Who are you talking about?
Morton, John Morton.
Oh, well, number one, he's been here before, so like we have a little familiarity.
What's it like to be around on this football team, on this field again?
All right, quick recap there on Taylor Decker. So powerful information. You can feel it, right? You guys can feel it. You can feel it from Taylor Decker's voice. He's probably trying to hold back the tears, right? He is holding back the tears, but it's now more evident than ever before that Frank Ragnow was really going through a lot. And you just heard it again, right? Over the last couple of seasons, I kept asking myself and you guys, how is Frank doing this? You know, I have bone on bone in my hip and other things going on in my hip, and I have to get it replaced here soon. But he's got bone on, I mean, really bone on bone in that plantar plate, and it can't be fixed. And he's been playing with that for the last couple of seasons. And then with all the injuries that he went through at the end of 2023 and still playing in the NFC Championship game, you know, through the playoffs, that's why you heard the frustration out of Frank at the end of the season, like he didn't know what he was going to do, and then everyone thought that he was going to retire. But to hear that he came back to fight for these guys, to play with these guys at least one more year, give it one more go, the writing was on the wall. So it is what it is. But obviously, you know, Decker and everyone's happy for him to see him relieved. Like, that's a big word, right? How many of you at the end of the day can honestly say, whether you're retired or whether you're working a full-time job, that at the end of the day that you can go home and you feel relieved? Not comfortable, right? But relieved. No pressure, nothing. Just relieved. I don't think a lot of people have that, especially in today's society. But to hear that Frank Ragnow has that ability to have relief after everything that he has been through, it was the right decision. So we can't be mad at him for it. I've never been mad at him for it, but I just wish he would have been able to play one more year. Derek Barnes. All right, I'm going to pause real quick. I'm sorry. I thought that this was playing the whole time. My bad. I'm sitting here listening to my phone and nothing's playing. You guys are probably looking at me like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Sorry about that. Let me rewind this. So Derek Barnes was asked a question about what is his role this year. And like, this has my ears perked up now, because this is something that we talked about in the preseason as well, or the offseason, that we need more coverage. Here we go.
I ain't gonna miss football because I know I give everything I got. But when you have to take advantage of every play, every day out here on this field, because it can be taken away from you in a snap of a finger, which it was for me last year, and it made me realize how much I love this team, love these guys, love football. I'm just grateful to be able to be back here again, for sure. So.
Your role was new and changing last year, or maybe it was old hat because of some of the Purdue stuff, but more on the line. You got Shep now calling the defense. How, if at all, are things changing for you this year?
Slightly the same. Playing a little bit more off the ball. That's what Shep prefers. Just kind of be able to use me in certain different ways, whether that's stacking on the line of scrimmage or rushing. So pretty much the same thing, just a little bit of different. It's different a little bit schematically, but other than that, no, kind of the same role, and yeah, that's it for sure. So.
You haven't had a bigger supporter.
Okay, so that's where I wanted to pause it when you guys are looking at my blank face a minute ago doing nothing. What he's talking about with his role. So this is big. This is really big. Calvin Shepard, being a former linebacker himself, running the linebackers, for all these years, he obviously knows the position. He knows what works, and he probably saw what wasn't working over the last few seasons with AG at the helm. Not to say that AG is a bad DC, because he's not. But Derek Barnes is now in a primary role of off-ball linebacker. This is big. And this is big for this defense, quite simply because an off-ball linebacker, I mean, their primary role is coverage, right? They're going to focus more on coverage. They're not going to line up directly, on the line of scrimmage. They're going to focus more on coverage. A little bit less on rushing the passer, though. So where I'm thinking that he's going to utilize the linebackers to get after the passer this year, and Derek kind of said that, yeah, he's going to get after the passer too, but if he's focusing as an off-ball linebacker to focus on coverage, he will have his opportunities to fire at the quarterback. Absolutely, without a doubt. So something I said in this offseason as well is I wanted to see more linebacker blitz, or at least one linebacker having an opportunity to free fire at the quarterback. It could be a total read thing in the scheme where they're reading something that's going to happen. So if he's reading that, he doesn't have to cover a tight end or running back, and he has a free opportunity, he's probably going to have that freedom to take it, which is interesting to me. I'm glad that we're hearing this. So this is something to pay attention to as we watch preseason games. How are they managing the linebackers? How have their roles changed? Nothing probably changes with Jack, but we might see more 3 linebacker sets, where last year we were in a lot of 4-2-5. I think that we might see a little bit more of our traditional 4-3. Hell, we might even see a 3-4 at times, just depending on where we go with defensive tackles. If we're down defensive tackles, we might see a 3-4. You could see Aidan and Derek Barnes on the outside, and you got Jack and Anzo, or probably Jack and Alex in the middle, and you have Tyleek, DJ Reader, and who would be that third tackle? If Josh Paschal is healthy, you could probably see him in there, or Roy Lopez, if he's healthy, obviously he would be in there. And we go to a little bit of a 3-4 look at times. This could be fun to watch.
You have had a bigger supporter in this building than Shep from pretty much the moment you've been here.
Right.
To see him climb into that role, to now coordinate the defense, what does that mean to you on a personal level, and then what do you think it means to you at a professional level?
Oh, man, Shep was a guy that believed in me more than probably sometimes I believed in myself. saw a lot of potential in me, even when he wasn't my coach, when he was outside linebacker coach my first year. He is so passionate about this game, about the defense. He wants to get better each and every day. That's what I love about him. I mean, the guy is never, how you put this? He's never happy. Let's say that. He happy when we win and get turned. I'm just saying, like, he's never satisfied. That's the right word for it. So he's looking to get better and allowing us to get better each and every day. I mean, it means a lot to me just to see from where we both started, me getting extended and him getting the defensive coordinator job. It's amazing. I know there's a lot more up the road for him, and I'm excited to see where he takes us as a defense. So.
His promotion also came with a promotion for Sean Deion Hamilton. What excites you about being able to continue that relationship with him?
Oh man, I mean, mind you, I played 2 years with Coach Sean Deion for 2 years. My first year I was hurt, and then the second year we had camp together. But man, you want to talk about a smart player, smart guy, smart coach. He knows everything from a defense standpoint, offense standpoint. Just to have a guy like that to be coached by is amazing. I mean, he took a lot of kind of coaching stuff from Shep and knows how to translate it to the meeting room. But man, it feels good to have a guy like that who also has been in the player's shoes and knows what it's like to be out on that field and put us in position to go out there and make plays and win some games and being one of the best defenses this year. So I'm excited.
I apologize if you were asked this at the beginning. I stepped in a little late. Do you feel like you have something to prove this year, or kind of where is your mindset coming off the injury last year and getting a big chunk of last season taken away from you after you performed as well as you did in 23?
Yeah, something to prove to myself. I would say that last year was the first year where I felt like everything was coming together for me. The game slowed down. I was at my healthiest before my knee. I felt my strongest, felt my fastest. So it's time to start off where I left. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just super excited to be back out here. I'm blessed to be able to see this field again, and I'm just ready to go. And it's a lot more for me to prove to myself, and I don't care about proving to nobody else but myself. So that's my main focus this year. So.
All right, I'm going to skip forward to Terry and Arnold because we're running up against the clock here, and I got a couple more things I want to get to.
About the new defensive coordinator, Campbell. Obviously, about the new defensive coordinator.
It's the only thing I'm still trash at, so it makes me mad. But one day I'll get it for sure. One of us. Yeah, no doubt. Appreciate it.
I want to ask you about the new defensive coordinator, Campbell. Obviously, you've been familiar with him, but let's talk about him. What he brings to the table, anything.
Bright whites, man. Jeez.
Just as far as the competitive nature, and then he's young, just like us, ambitious. He's hungry, and one thing about him, man, that player-coach relationship, like. He allows us to meet with him. If we don't have, if we have any questions or any thoughts or concerns, like he really, really is there for his players. And he kind of like resembles Dan Campbell and everything we stand for. Like has a whole bunch of grit. And he's fun to have as a coach and go out there and lay it on the line for him.
This is my 17th training camp. I don't think I remember a defense dominating 7-7 in a row very often. This doesn't happen. You guys kind of did that today. Just your thoughts on where this defense is, and it seems like you got some pieces that are fitting together pretty nice right now.
Well, the standard is the standard. We got a long ways to go, and it's just a bunch of guys come together. And honestly, we out there playing for each other. Like I feel like the brotherhood.
Standard's the standard, boys.
And just even during the off season, allowing us to do like activities together. Being out here and really sacrifice, like we just pride ourselves on sacrifice for each other. Nobody's bigger than the team. So when you got guys like that, man, a lot of plays gonna happen because you're really out there just having fun. Just another day playing football as if you were a kid.
What about your game? They always say the biggest leap from year 1 to year 2. Just what was the focus for you this offseason? And
Jay-Z, that's Will Rock speak, man. The standard's the standard. I've been saying it all offseason since we got Tate. Love it.
Kind of where are you at with your game?
I got experience now. Just pride myself on trying to go out there and get the ball, and then just taking it one day at a time. It just don't happen overnight. You got to trust the process, and I'm standing down for it.
I'm so sorry about that. You got a good Rocky Sin story yet? We're kind of new here. We haven't really got to know him, but that seems to do a little bit of everything. So.
Rock, I don't know if it's boxing or jiu-jitsu, but let's just say Rocky is not somebody that I would want to fight. So, yeah.
Dude, he can bring it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, man, he's a very serious guy. So, in the meetings, he doesn't really say much. But I mean, he has a big heart. I can tell. Trying to crack the code a little bit. You know, we getting there.
You said the standard is the standard.
Mhm.
That secondary looks like it has a chance to be really, really good. Just what is that standard for you guys in that room?
The standard for us is getting the ball back to the offense. I mean, when you could go out there and force turnovers, force takeaways, it's game-changing plays. And then on top of that, we all young, and we've had a chance to have a year of camaraderie under our belt. Like, that's very, very rare in the NFL. So, I mean, just seeing the same guys you were lined up with aside, I mean, we replaced Carlton with DJ, but he's came in and fell right into place. So when you have a group of guys that can gel together, we hang out together, and we do extracurricular activities together, I mean, just the brotherhood is stronger than ever. And when you are able to go out there and have trust that your guy's going to be in the right spot, or he could trust me to make this play, and it just makes football a lot easier.
You still jonesing for your first one?
Yeah, it's coming up. I mean, you know, once you get one, you know, they just start coming. So.
It wasn't like something that was hanging on you this offseason.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I just watch tape every day, thinking about the plays that I could have made. But I'm just one of those guys. I want to be a perfectionist. So I mean, if you chase perfection, then I mean, you won't fall short of it.
I remember last year, you know, as you guys cleaned out your locker, you still remain confident as ever, man. You said you see yourself being this one at the top in the league, it's your position, man. Is it still what you feel?
Of course.
Motivating you?
You know what changed? I mean, I just feel like that, number one, because just coming into a system and then having to play Super Bowl caliber football night in, night out, Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, and then when you have a coach and when you have a team like us, you know that you're going to get everyone's best. So just being put in that role and then knowing teams know you're going to play man, and then come out of college and transition into the NFL, you can't help but get better. So I mean, I'm excited for you too.
You told the story of your number, I think, this offseason. Can you tell it again?
Oh yeah. You know, number one, my mom's birthday is May 6th. So that's number one. I wore 6 in high school, but then, you know, everybody knows about the passing that happened to my teammate Kyrie. So just the ability just to look down, and if I need extra motivation, just knowing that he's somewhere looking down, and, you know, just remembering like he living through me. So.
Apologies if you were already asked this, T, but just in your second season, do you feel like you have something to prove, or what kind of personal goals do you set for yourself going into year 2?
I don't feel like I have nothing to prove to anybody. Like, I'm just really trying to get better every day. And I feel like I want to go out there and do whatever it takes for the team to win. Whether that's running down on kickoff, running down on punt, just whatever coach or my teammates need me to do. And as far as personal goals, I mean, I think about one all day, every day, and that's winning the Super Bowl. And I'm going to do whatever the team needs me to do to go and try to attain that.
How about as far as working on things in camp to help improve your game and performance to lead to that end result of the Super Bowl for the team?
Just working on being more of a leader, and then working on getting the ball, and then just working on the little details. I mean, playing corner, and then just as far as having that 1 year of experience under your belt, you just can't get bored doing the little things. So I just pride myself on trying to get here early, focusing on recovery for my body, and then really, really watching film. And then my coach, Coach Shea, and Coach J.O., like, they do a really, really good job of just allowing us to meet with them over time. Like, y'all kind of holding me up right now because I'm finna go meet with them. So, yeah.
David said, I know you only have 1 year under your belt, but David said yesterday that this team is just tired of being close. Is that a sentiment that's kind of carried out throughout this entire locker room?
Most definitely. I mean, you know, Detroit, I don't even think we've ever been to the Super Bowl game. So just as far as getting there and then having that whole offseason to think about it, like, you get tired of that feeling. And then, you know, I mean, you only have a small window to attain that. So, I mean, the window for us it's open, and we just want to try to attain that before it closes.
And a little off topic, how you feeling about Alabama this year?
Come on, man. You know what we're going to do. Like,
what are you going to do?
I mean, I don't really know because I haven't been there, but from what I've seen, we got a lot of playmakers. We got some people that in my class that are still there. The leadership is still there. So I feel like the tide going to keep rolling.
Do you have to pay to switch your jerseys?
Huh?
Do you have to pay to switch your jersey?
Nah. No problem.
Impressions of John Morton, new OC.
You know, enthusiastic about the game. His love for the game, you know, shows how much he cares, how much dedication and work he puts in to the game planning and to scripting practice. You know, I can just feel.
All right. I'm going to skip Hendon for now because I'm going to highlight him a little bit later. And I might highlight TA a little bit. We missed day 1 of July 20th media availability. Maybe we'll get into that later on this week, or I might just pull a couple of videos together and discuss, you know, some of the things that that these guys have been talking about this year so far, which a lot of positive, right? There's a lot of positive going on with this team. I think that there's a different energy with this team. And I think that what we're going to see is some of these young bucks are going to push their way onto this roster. They're going to make sure that they're doing everything that they can to stand out. That's a good thing, right? You've got, I just had a message from one of the audience members. You know, you've got the Ahmed and Davenport pair. I mean, those guys are working together. Ahmed Hassanin is taking a liking to Marcus Davenport, and Davenport's giving him the goods, man. He's teaching him what he knows. So they're doing that behind the scenes, off to the side after practice. And that's good information. But this message that I just received, too, is just talking about a camp battle potential between Giovanni Manu and Ahmed Hassanin, which I'm hoping that we get to see some of this stuff while we're there. Obviously, when the fans are there, anything could still happen. Like, training camp is training camp. Just because fans are there, nothing changes. Nothing changes. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And those are some of the battles that I'm going to key in on. Now, early in the offseason, we knew that Ahmed was going to be in that fourth, fifth kind of category, the third set of edge. How quickly does he work up into the second group? And he also is getting some first team reps as well. How quickly can he get himself up into that first team group more often, throughout preseason, throughout camp? We're going to see a lot of Ahmed, a ton in the preseason. And I'll say that now, but I'm also going to preface it this way. If Ahmed is coming to light in practice in front of the coaches and they're seeing that there's something there, if they're holding him back in preseason, that's giving you the answer to the test that he's arrived, he looks good, and they don't want to risk anything. But at the same time, Dan always says, I don't want to risk injury, or the people that don't want to risk injury, that they're afraid to play. We're not going to play that way. But there's that's the same, I'll say it in the same breath as the reason why they keep the starters out a large majority of preseason games is because they don't want to risk injury. Otherwise, you just let the guys play, right? You want to keep them healthy. So guys that are on the sideline, unless they're on the sideline for a reason, injury-wise, there's a bigger reason as to why they're not in these games, which means that Dan and Brad and the rest of the coaching staff have identified these guys as players that they want to go to battle with, and they need them healthy for the season. There was a question in the chat a little bit ago by Lions Blood, and I want to answer that. All balls, no D. Welcome to the Lions Faithful. Sorry we were in it. I couldn't recognize you right away, but I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you joining the group. It's a great group. And now that you're a member, what I'll do is I'll put out a member post today, and that'll include your entry into the Voxer app. So you'll get access to the Voxer app, which is a great community of Lions fans, always talking it up, always there for each other. But it is a great community of people that are in this chat every day, just talking football, man, talking life, whatever. It's mostly football, but let's get you lit up with an Amik hit today, man.
On 3rd and 14, Jones has got it, setting up a screen, and it's blown up. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson just sent ETN back to Jacksonville. What a hit. That
Dan Miller take will never get old. It'll never get old. I love it. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Help us get to our mark, our goal this season. Look, I wanted to be at 10K by my 3rd season. This is my 3rd season, but we're entering month 23, right? 23, 24. No. Basically started in October of 2023. So, we're just into month 2021. And so we've come a long way very quickly. We need to take it just another step further. Of course, I love to get, to 15,000 this year. I think that we'll be able to do that. But 20,000 is the goal. That would be the goal. Let's get to 20K. We need your help to do that. And if there's a reason you haven't subscribed, I would love to know why. I would love to know. Just let us know at mailbag@rockdown.com. And then, of course, if you have questions for the week, if you have anything that you want to make the Motor City mailbag that we'll highlight, midweek, just send it in and we'll get to it. But let me go back to Lions Blood's question. He says, it was a question for everybody, but he says, I know we have a lot of players to pay after this year, and everyone is ready to ship JMO out and saying that we can find another wide receiver. But can we find another tight end? Or it's more of a statement. We can find another tight end. So to reframe the statement / question is, if I'm understanding, you'd rather lose the tight end over anybody else out of this draft class. Okay. I think I've been pretty transparent about things when it comes to the types of players a team is required to have to be successful. And I think if you look around at a lot of the Super Bowl teams, what is one of the common denominators over the last 10 years? Remember, this is an offensive-driven league now. This is not a defensive-driven league anymore. It's offensive. Yes, defense can help you win championships, but offenses will put the championship in your lap. The defense just can't screw it up, which happened in 23, right? But that's what this league is all about now, is offense. When you have a guy like Sam Laporta or Brock Bowers that come in their rookie year and just completely set ablaze, I mean, what tight ends have done for 50, 60 years. I mean, Sam Laporta was up against Mike Ditka's numbers. And I think he ended up being the third or the fourth best rookie ever. Sam Laporta was in his rookie season. So it's extremely rare, right? Extremely rare. Really hard to find. I don't care how many decades you go back. It is extremely rare to find a guy like Sam Laporta, just like it is with Brock Bowers. So to answer the statement / question would be this. I think it is much easier to find a wide receiver to play second fiddle than it is to find a tight end that is a number one tight end and already a top 5 tight end in the league is rookie season. And backed it up in his second year. Even he had a down season the first, 6 weeks, but he still backed it up. So that's my answer. I think it's easier to find a receiver. You could always pluck the guy out of the draft that has the speed, right? You find a few of those a year that have the speed. So if you're really worried about the speed aspect, then you could find someone with speed. But to find someone that can put it all together, that's a little bit harder to do. But if you're on a team where you're expecting that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to continue to lead this wide receiver room for the next 4 or 5 seasons, then I think it's easier to replace your number 2 wide receiver than it would be to replace Sam Laporta, who he can take a game over completely as a tight end. And he's done it a couple of times in his rookie year and last season. So that's my answer for right now. But I got to say, I need to see J-Mo continue doing what he did last year for me, just for my own thing. If J-Mo is the guy that he was last year and better, then that conversation gets tighter, right? It gets a little bit harder to move away from a guy that is that explosive, that is that electric. J-Mo's a rare individual. It's just that maturity factor that I think a lot of Lions fans have questioned. Is he shaking it off? Like, is this the year that J-Mo just takes off? And then, yeah, you're forced to pay the guy. But as far as Sam Laporta goes, I think that's an easier contract to swallow. So we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. Let's see. Lloyd Dockham, that's a new name, says, I agree, probably easier to find a receiver, but J-Mo is one of the most explosive players in the NFL. He can do maybe what one do. Yeah, you're exactly right, and I think that's the good part of this the hard part of this discussion is exactly that, the explosiveness. How do you maintain that? And look, Isaac Tesla is someone that can be explosive. He does run a 4.4. Is there a big difference between a 4.4 and a 4.3? There can be. I mean, there is, right? I mean, J-Mo's been caught. I mean, and J-Mo's also, when he's streaking down the field, most corners are within a step or two, and that's a lot in the NFL to have that much of a distance between you. But yeah, you give him a little glimmer of light, and J-Mo's going to find the end zone. So we'll see what happens, man. We have good problems in Detroit, but they become bad problems when a fan is, going to be heartbroken over the outcome, right? That's the problem that we're all up against. I'm a fan first, man. I love what JMO does on the football field. I absolutely do. But I think that when you have a complete team, yes, the explosiveness is great. But if you have a complete team, and if Isaac Tesla is able to prove that what he did in college is not a fluke, where he doesn't drop footballs and he's in the right position, and he is a downfield threat, he is a bigger body wide receiver, he's still quick. I mean, he's darn near explosive too. If you haven't watched any of his tape, you probably should. I'm excited to see what he does this preseason. But he's already clicking, with Hendon Hooker early in camp. I can't wait to see if he clicks with Jared Goff, because that's the guy. That's who he has to click with. But I think he's more of that Tim Patrick replacement for next season. This season, I think Tim sticks around. But anyway, good question, man. I want more questions. I want more questions like that. All Balls No D says, I was looking at Will's board behind him and thought Fortitude said for a turd. What? Yes, Fortitude. Oh, now I dropped it. Well, it'll stay there. I'm not picking it up for now. Fortitude, man. Yeah, I made that. So that's the extent of my artwork. That was a word of the year that I did with my kids a few Christmases ago, going into the new year, was word of the year. And I chose Fortitude. I mean, I just had major spinal injuries and had 2 back-to-back surgeries, lumbar and cervical, which I'm going back to Cleveland Clinic here soon and getting everything re-looked at again, because they're going to have to reconstruct just about everything. So Fortitude, man, you're up against it. You got to learn how to walk again. You got to learn how to do everything again. And as soon as they were done in surgery and I was recovered, and so if anyone's out there battling something, let me tell you something. I was up walking after recovery, after I was awake and had something to eat. I was up walking within about an hour of them finally bringing to my room. So after recovery, up in my room for about an hour, they had dinner brought to me. I was walking around the hospital in the inside within an hour. So Fortitude meant something to me because I wasn't going to let anything stop me. And then going through cancer and having to relearn how to talk again a couple years later, and now I'm doing a podcast. There's a reason why the word fortitude means something to me, man. And it means something to these guys, too, in the NFL. Look, these guys have to have fortitude in everything that they do. Frank Ragnow, I mean, look what he did, right? He had to push through it every year, but all of these guys do. We don't see anything. We see everything on TV that is fun. We don't see the blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes until Netflix or Hard Knocks, put some things together for us. And it kind of shows us a little bit of a deeper connection to the players. But they're going through some stuff, man. This is a very tough game. Very, very tough game. Yeah. I appreciate the struggle too, All Balls No D, man. I appreciate your mom, man, and what she went through. Appreciate everyone and what they're going through. You never know what someone's going through, man. That's why you just got to treat people with kindness, and that's how we're going to leave the show today. We're going to leave it on an upbeat note. Just be nice to the people that you meet, man. You never know what they're going through. Be nice. It's easier to reach down and lift up than it is to kick somebody down. So it takes more energy to be mean. But anyway, we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the Rise and Grind Morning Show. I'll be back here later on this evening for an off-the-cuff Tuesday night episode. Training camp tickets, I will give some away tonight. So if you're in need of training camp tickets, make sure you get into tonight's show. I'm not even sure how I'm going to give them away. I've been waiting for someone to drop it into the mailbag email. If there's a family out there that really needs to go that didn't get tickets. If there's some kid that needs to go with his dad or his mom that didn't get tickets. Those are the people that we want to bless more so than anyone else. but they're also for all of the members and subscribers of this channel. If you need to go to training camp and we're not able to secure tickets, I have some extra tickets that I want to give away tonight. Pay attention to my Twitter today, if you can, if you're on Twitter, at Will Rock Jr., and there's going to be some guidelines for some tickets to win tonight. So, all right, y'all have a wonderful day. I think the Lions are off tomorrow. I don't think there's practice tomorrow, if I heard that correct. So it could be a slow news day tomorrow, which is good because I think today's going to be another day of a lot going on. Practice is going to be ending here in just a little bit. I think around 11 o'clock. So we should have some stories coming out by then. All right, you guys, take care. Man, be one with the one pride. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, I'll see you tonight. You know what I meant. I'm out of here.
Oh, the podcast. Shout out to Rockhound Detroit Lions, man.
There
My
you
pride.